And then more magma came up from underground and filled and overfilled the magma chamber and pressurized it. And then, 7,700 years ago, Mount Mazama had its climactic eruption. Molten magma forced its way up through cracks in the earth. And then, a huge pillar of volcanic ash and pumice, a glassy rock, surged up from out of the mountain. It rose 30 miles into the air. It towered above the snow-capped peaks. Within that grand pillar, lightning flashed and thunder boomed. The pillar hung over the mountain for a number of days, and ash fell from the sky and blanketed an area including all or parts of 8 different western states and 3 Canadian provinces. And then that grand pillar fell over, and the eruption became devastating to life. Pyroclastic flows, glowing avalanches of superheated ash and gas and rock surged down the mountain and over the valleys at up to 100 miles per hour. Traveled 35 miles from the eruption site. They incinerated the forest and obliterated all life in their path. Many Native Americans must have died in the eruption, but evidently, somehow or other, someone must have escaped to pass on that story. And at the end of the eruption, that magma chamber became a big empty hole. An empty hole does not support the weight of a 12,000-foot mountain very well. The mountain collapsed down into the hole. The sound was so loud that you probably could have heard it in Denver, Colorado. And at the end of it all, when the ash cleared, Mount Mazama was gone. Where it had been, there was a deep, deep pit, almost 4,000 feet deep and 6 miles wide. Over a period of maybe 400 years, rain and snow filled the pit halfway to become Crater Lake. All right, we'll head over to another site of geologic intrigue. Ahead of us, beginning near the water's edge, we see what resembles a giant shark fin rising from the cliff wall, and if we continue it up, we see more of them. Looks a bit like the plates on the back of a dinosaur, like a stegosaurus, going all the way to the rim of the caldera, and it continues to the other side, but we can't see that from here. And that we call the Devil's Backbone. The backbone is also a volcanic dike. Now what that means is molten magma was coming up from underground. It cooled down and froze to become solid igneous rock while it was still underground. Now when that happens, the magma cools more slowly and forms a harder, denser rock. When the magma erupts to the surface as lava, it cools down more quickly and cracks. Hence, the sturdy Devil's Backbone remained standing while the rocks around it, not as strong, cracked away and fell into the caldera. And although geologists tell a slightly different story, they too consider this lake to be a very special place because it provides a rare opportunity to study the interior of a grand composite volcano and see its inner workings. When Mount Mazama was 12,000 feet tall, it looked pretty similar to Mount Rainier or Mount Shasta or Mount Hood. Now it's like what one of those mountains would be if one could somehow take a God-sized ice cream scoop and remove the top and see everything that was going on inside. And we can go ahead and stand up here. And we're passing through Skell Channel, of course named in honor of the Klamath spirit Skell. Oh, there went a fish. It's about, okay. Water's only about 30 feet deep in some places here. So you can see the bottom. Fish down there. I have suddenly an answer has been presented to the number one question from the rim. Are there fish in the lake? Obviously there must be. So how many people here think the fish are native? All right, you are correct. They are non-native. This is an isolated lake fed by no rivers or streams. So historically it had no fish. But then in 1888, William Gladstone Steele, the founding father of this park, brought fish here in 2 buckets, carried them over by foot. He thought that having fish in the lake would increase recreational opportunities and draw in tourists. But I'm wondering, how many people here came here for the fishing? All right, well, in any case, after Will Steele, the Park Service regularly stocked the lake with fish up until 1941. And today, rainbow trout and kokanee salmon, descendants of some of the stocked fish, still survive.